after a bit, we'll hop over and see what's happening on sheet 3. So we're off and running. Ishal has thrown the lead stone. Man, I was saying some really great things, but there was no sound. Interesting. Now I think we're off and running. I was saying all sorts of introductory things, and I was on the wrong feed. So, in any event, welcome to the 2026 Latin School of Chicago Roman Bonspiel. We've got 2 games this morning at 9 o'clock, and here on sheet 1 we have the Broom taking on Team Stone Cold. I do believe that Stone Cold threw the first rock. I think that rock may have been through. And we'll take a quick look over here on sheet 3. We'll be seeing at sheet 3 Legends throwing rocks taking on Books of Old.
It's a little wide. It's fine. No, let it go. Fine. You got another chance. A little lighter. No, a little lighter.
Each team has 8 rocks. There's an advantage to be able to throw the last rock at the end.
Okay.
And he does. Back hidden by that top rail.
You're really wide.
Timothy slid out quite
Let's go down.
wide.
Yeah, that's out. Take that out. Leave it. It's heavy. It's very heavy. Be a little light. Yeah.
The center of the house.
Good line, good.
Hand signal.
Let it crawl. I don't know.
Not
Please. Please, fine.
We might be able to use that and hide underneath it. That red circle we're looking at in the middle is 4 feet in diameter, so that is called the 4-foot circle.
Yeah, keep it straight, Okay, That's your play.
Just behind.
Okay, it'll sit.
T-line.
Not sure. No, I did. No,
He's now sitting one.
my dad's
Each team will throw 8 rocks, alternating for a total of 16, and after all 16 are thrown, whichever team is closest to the button, closest to the center of the house, will score a point. So one team can score. If they have multiple rocks closer to the button than their opponent's closest rock, then they can score multiple points. In theory, up to as many as 8.
The line's okay, a little wide. Let it
Wobbly slide. I'm back. I did some sound adjustment. I was told that the noise from the ice house was pretty loud, so hopefully I've dialed that back. Right, Red's got a center guard there. They are still sitting one. Avery wants to try to draw behind that into the top 12. If she does that, she would have one in the house, but it would not outcount the red. It would not be closer to the center than the red. I think ideally she'd like to be a little deeper than that. And maybe touch that red circle and bite the 4 foot. This line is good, meaning it's aimed properly and following the line that they intended. The sweepers are sweeping. Sweeping primarily will make the rock go a little farther than it would otherwise. And the sweepers do a nice job of dragging that into the top 12. So yellow now sits second shot. And if they could ever get rid of that back red, they have a chance to score multiple. Peter trying to figure out what to do with that. The strategy in curling is very, very complex. And it is really impressive how much the skips have learned in the course of simply 1 week. So Peter's trying to draw behind that yellow. Has the choice of coming from the right side or the left side. He's chosen to come around from the right side. He holds the broom down as a point to aim at. Obviously, the rocks curl as they move down the ice, which is why it's called curling. It was a fine shot, but again, just too strong. All right, Avery wants to draw the button. She's coming that way. I think it'd be a better idea to have come the other way from the left side. I think it's much easier to get there. This looks spicy. I think that was Milo. Again, just too much weight. It's now time for skip stones. So the skips throw the last 2 rocks, and the person playing vice for them will come down, discuss strategy for that particular shot, and hold the broom, i.e. set up the aiming point. So Grady's doing that for Peter right now. Peter walks back down to the other end of the ice and gets ready to throw the first of his 2 rocks. And Rajan and Hugo are standing there getting ready to sweep the rock. And I think what Peter's trying to do is what he did before, draw behind that yellow and sit 2. All right. Peter's ready, slides out. Very nice looking slide there. Grady should be calling line, letting the people know whether it's going to curl around that yellow or hit it, but clearly it's well by it. That's fine. But again, Peter's shot is just too heavy. Milo, I believe it's Milo that's vicing. He will hold the broom for Avery. I think they've already talked about their shot. I'm not quite sure what the call is. We'll have a better sense once Avery gets into the hack and is ready to throw, and Milo clearly holds the broom for an aiming point. Options here are simply to draw into the 4-foot, outcount that red. You could also consider hitting that red, knocking it out. That would allow her to sit 2. But takeouts are a tough shot, but I do believe that's what she's going for. I think this is pretty good. I think we're on the red. I can't quite tell. Make this shot. Oh, just misses. Great try. All right, red's last. As I mentioned before, it's always an advantage to have the last rock to have hammer, and it's very common for the team that has the hammer to score 1 or more points in an end. If, on the other hand, the team without hammer is able to score, that's called stealing a point or more. And red right now is set up to steal 1, possibly 2. They're going to try to draw under that yellow one more time. If they can simply be closer to the center of the house than that yellow rock is, then they would be sitting 2, which would put a lot of pressure on Avery for her last shot. And sweepers are not touching it. Hugo's holding up his hand saying that there's no need for that because, yet again, it's just too strong. Yeah, kids are struggling with their weight here in the first end. I've been curling for 8 years and I struggle with the weight. It's one of the most difficult aspects of a difficult sport. All right, so the conservative call is to simply draw the 4-foot, get your 1. The legends are being more aggressive here. They're going for the hit. If they can hit the rock and have the shooter, the rock should just stay in play. They would score 2. Is she going to get it this time? Right on the nose. Great shot for 2. Fantastic. Great shot by Avery to wrap up the first end. Pressure shot with a hit against 2. And the legends will hang 2 on the scoreboard. That's the end of the first end. The students will play 6 ends. Let's take a look at what's happening over here on sheet 1. They are just wrapping up the first end. I don't know who has hammer. And wow, it is close for shot rock. Red's got one in the back, but shot rock is either the red or the yellow in the top right, and I don't know from the camera view who's closer. I'm being told that yellow is sitting 1. So yellow's sitting 1, and Broom is now throwing their rock. Has a chance to draw in and sit 2. I think he's trying to draw through that port between the top red and top yellow. The line looks great, but the sweepers are on it hard, which means it's a little bit light, and they're working hard to get it there. They're not going to. Plan B is to bump that yellow up into the house, but just not enough oomph to get it there. All right, it looks like that was hammer, since they are starting to clear the rocks. Yeah, all right. I think they're clearing the rocks, so I think yellow gets 1. And indeed, they have hung that score. So for the second end, we'll stay here with Broom versus Stone Cold and see what happens here in the second. Yellow scored in the first end, and given that curling is a very chivalrous game full of sportsmanship, yellow having scored will give the team that didn't score the last rock advantage. So red has hammer, which means yellow throws first. And I was away for a second. I think that's the first rock of the end, which is a nice guard. Ideally, you'd want that on the center line, and right in the middle of the house. That is on the vertical line on the screen. It's a little to the right of that, which is fine. Chase wants to take advantage of that as a guard and draw behind it. Hang on 1 second. Yeah. And I was going to go out and help the students with the rule, but they're on top of it. There's a rule in curling that the first 5 rocks, if any of them ends up as a guard, the opponent cannot remove it until the 6th rock is thrown. So that was a guard. It was removed by red, which is not allowed. So the yellow rock goes back to where it was, and the red rock gets pulled out of play. It's a nice rule because then you can use the first 5 rocks to kind of set something up and your opponents can't get rid of As soon as you come into the house with any of those rocks, then your opponent can hit them and remove them. But if they're guards, they can't be removed until the 6th rock. All right, Rudy wants to take advantage of his guard and ask William to draw underneath that. You can hear Rudy yelling hard, hard, which means he thinks this rock is light. The sweepers think it's light, which is why they're sweeping it. Certainly not going to get behind the guard. It's got to get over that hog line, and it does. So that's fine. Ends up as a guard. It can maybe use that later, although it's pretty far off to the side. Chase wants to draw behind. And we'll ask Ishal to do that with her 2nd. Nice slide by Ishal. The sweepers are on it. The main reason to sweep a rock is to make it go farther. You can also sweep it to make it go straighter. And I think here they were sweeping not for line, that is to make it go straighter, but to have it go farther. It's a fine rock, just a little light, didn't quite make it to the house. Chase needs to get out of there. All right. Rudy's house now. And Rudy will ask Eloise to try to get one in the house finally. You can tell how much the rocks curl. He wants to end up kind of back behind the O of Mackinson, but he's put his broom far to the left because the rock, if aimed at his broom, will actually move to the right several feet. But it's moving earlier than he wanted. She may have been a little narrow on that. Oh, but can they promote this? Good result. A lot of curling is figuring out on the fly what plan B is going to be. And plan B here with that over curling is simply bump the yellow, promote it into the house, and yellow now sits 1. Chase has decided he doesn't really like that guard up there, especially now that it's hiding that yellow rock. So he's going to ask Lolo to remove it. It's a fine thought. As I mentioned before, takeouts are difficult. They require students to throw more weight, which makes it harder to keep your balance and to keep your aim. And the margin for error is very, very small. Lolo a bit wide on that one. Rudy's got one in the house, and he would like to protect that, so he's going to try to put up another guard. Which is fine. It's sort of a somewhat conservative play, trying to just protect that one. Another option would be simply throw another one into the house. Are they going to get by? They are by. Just to flex off that top yellow. Just a little too heavy. Certainly too heavy for a guard. I thought it might stick around in the house, but that was a little too strong, and it goes out. Let's see if Chase tries to remove this guard again. So Lolo has another chance at this. It's a smart call by the skip. If you can ever give your player a second chance at the same throw, then they can try to make an adjustment. Sometimes you need something different, and that's not possible. So she's not going to hit the guard. The question is whether this will slow down enough to stay in the house. Rudy can skip once it's behind the tee line, and it's too strong, which is to be expected. She was trying to throw takeout, which requires more weight. But again, with takeouts, if you are offline by just a little bit, you are going to miss the rock, and it's not going to stay around. Rudy considering his options. Come on, Rudy, just throw another one in the house. He wants the same thing. He's going to ask Zachary to put up a guard. Zachary sporting a fine bit of headwear. Zachary adjusting the aiming point a little bit. This weight looks much better. Great shot. It's exactly where Rudy wanted it. So that's going to make it much more difficult for red to get into the house. And if yellow wants, they can choose to bump that one up to promote it into the house and maybe give them a second shot. All right, Chase just wants to draw into the house, and I think he can totally do that around the left side. That guard that yellow just put up does make it more difficult, but there's plenty of room around the left side to get in there. And as long as he can get full 8 foot, Rudy's up there because Rudy sees that this rock is over curling. It may bump into their yellow, and he's ready to promote that, and that's exactly what happens. Good anticipation by Rudy. Well done. And yellow now sits 2. Rudy wisely sees that red's best chance of scoring is to draw between those 2 yellows and put one right in the middle of the house. And so he is going to try to take that shot away from Chase by putting up a guard and blocking that draw path. And that's a good shot call. If it is a little bit heavy, then it would trickle into the house and he would sit 3, which is also not a bad result. They are not touching it, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen. That is a really good shot. It kind of acts as a guard. It's a little right of where you'd want it. Acts as a guard, but also is kind of sitting shot 3. So yellow is sitting 3, and they're set up nicely for a steal. Pressure's really on red. They got to get one in the house. Red needs to get one in. The best way to do that is to draw between the 2 yellow on the left. I have a wonky slide there by Nico. That's light. That's not going to make it to the house. Unfortunately, it kind of puts up a guard blocking the path that he wants to use for his last few shots. Rudy and Zachary now discussing things. And at this point, they are sitting nicely, and their thought process is, what is Red going to try to do, and how can we make that as difficult as possible for them? And they wisely see that Red's best chance is still to try to do that draw between the two yellows on the left into the house, and so they're going to try to block that draw path. Not exactly where they want to put it, but I think good enough to make life difficult for Red. All right, sorry, I got distracted by other things there. We're now into skipstones. This is Chase's first. Needs to make it through a fairly narrow port there. The sweepers are on it. Weight was all there. Ticks off that yellow, bounces out. That was a little too strong. Close to a very good shot, but a little too heavy. Rolls off to the back left, and I think yellow is still sitting 3. We're going to take a quick look at sheet 3, where apparently things are very close. So I think Ms. Dowling came out to determine who was closer. It's kind of hard to eyeball it, especially if you're a new curler. Ms. Dowling was able to look at it and decide who was closest. If you can't tell with the naked eye, there's a fun gizmo that you can break out that will very sensitively measure which rock is closest to the button. All right, if I haven't lost track of things, I think this is Rudy's last. And once again, they're trying to block that draw path that Chase almost was able to use to get one in. Oh, it's too light. That's not going to make it over the hog line. And he has hogged that rock. So since it didn't get into play, didn't make it over the hog line, it gets pulled out. So this is hammer. And you can see the advantage of having hammer, even with the bad situation of yellow sitting 3. By having the last rock advantage, red has the opportunity still to score. To score 1, he's going to have to make it into that white circle with the red border, the 4-foot. But even if he doesn't, he could still cut yellow down from 3. Let's see if he can make a nice adjustment from the last one, which is too heavy. We're yelling for sweep here. I don't know. Oh, that's for line. That is way over curling. It's coming to the other side. I don't know what plan B is. Can they get it through that port over there? Yep. Okay, keep it going. Stop it there. Okay, not what he intended, but it does cut yellow down from 3 to 2. I think. Ooh. Actually, that red rock went farther than I thought. We've got a close one here. Okay, they've moved the rocks, so they have decided. And I don't know what the call was. I'm hearing from the other people here in the warm room that they think that it was yellow 3. So that red rock just went a little too far. I thought they might be able to have it stop and at least cut yellow down. Yep, and yellow has now hung the score. So it is 4-0. Scoreboards in curling are weird. They're kind of backwards. Those blue-black numbers across the middle are the score, and what gets hung is not a score, but the end. So that one that got hung was the first end, and since yellow got 1 point, it gets hung over the 1. Then in the second end, since they got 3, then they move along 3 spaces, and so you can tell from looking at it that the score is yellow 4 and red 0 with 4 to play. But red has hammer. They have last rock advantage, so let's see if they can rally and get some points in the third end. Meanwhile, what happened on sheet 3? You can tell that yellow stole 1 more in the second end, and yellow leads 3-0 in sheet 3. And looking at the house, they've got one biting the 12-foot that is nicely guarded, but red is sitting shot in the back 8. It does appear that the live chat on the stream is working. So if you've got questions about things that are going on, about the rules or strategy or terminology or something that I'm explaining poorly, throw a note in the chat and I'll try to pay attention and address that. All right, red puts up a guard. When you're behind in the game, behind on the score, having guards is very useful. You need things to be able to hide behind and promote. So that red guard is very useful for red right now. Yellow's going to try to take advantage of that. See if they could draw under. Sweepers are not touching this. This looks like it might be a little heavy. Now it's coming down. Sweeper's now on it. Ooh, it is really curling. They're going to get it by the red. Or are they going to get it by? No, it wicks off of it. Rolls up. Okay. I think Peter wants to try this again. No, I guess he's drawing. I thought he was trying to draw under the yellow, which I think would be a better call. That way it's hidden. But he's asking Hugo, I think, to draw the other side, kind of on top of that red rock, which is not a bad idea to sort of protect that red. It's coming in, curling a little more than he wants, calls the sweepers off, keeps sweeping it. Very nice shot, very nice. That sits second, it partially guards the shot rock in the back. Well done, Hugo. Avery now trying to draw into the yellow rock on the right side of the house. Oh, this is spicy. Plan B is to hit. Plan B is to hit the red. Okay. That was a good result and a great sweep call by Avery to realize that Plan A was not going to work out. Change on the fly. So it gets rid of one of the reds. Red's still sitting shot. And they have hammer, so good chance to score 2 here. Peter is wisely looking at the draw to the right side, which I think is exactly the right call, and trying to decide whether you come around from the right or to the left. Yelling down to the players in the front end and the person throwing, seeing if they have a preference, what looks better to them. I'm not sure it much matters, although I would probably do what he's doing here to leave that middle open for his last shot and maybe have a chance to get 3. So he's thrown over here to his right side. It's kind of farther out and the ice tends to be a little slower the farther outside you get. So hopefully Hugo gave it a little bit more weight. Sweepers are on it trying to drag it as far as they can, but it's going to curl and end up right on top of that top red. They are kind of lined up. I think if later on he hits that rock that just came to a stop, it might hit the angle might be such that it would bump into the red rock beneath it. Maybe sneak by that yellow and he could put one in the house in that rather complicated way. Avery calling for the draw again. This looks pretty good. Nice shot by Milo. Little strong. Now it's behind the tee line. Peter gets after it. Can he get it out? Can he get it out? Can't get it out. And I think he swept it far enough, though, that red is still shot. It was a good shot by Milo. A little strong, but right on line and very close to the right weight. All right, this is Grady's first, and Peter's calling for Grady to try to do that same shot. Draw the right side. This looks really spicy. Grady slid out really strong there. Yeah, that's going to be through. Yep, off the back. So one way to think about strategy in curling is what's my opponent trying to do and how could I block that or make that difficult. Avery, however, is just going to let Peter have that draw on that side for now and see if she can put sit shot by drawing the left side. Kind of a wobbly slide by Milo on that one. Again, pretty strong. The sweepers are on it. Maybe should have come off earlier. And go Peter, go Peter, go Peter. But it's on that back yellow. But good sweep by Peter. Drags it far enough back that it does not outcount his red. All right, maybe third time's a charm. We're going to try this draw one more time. It's also smart because Peter has now seen this 2 times, and he'll have a good sense of how much it's going to curl. Kids are not touching it. The line looks tight, line looks tight. Oh, here's that promote I was talking about. Red into the red. Yes! It gets by, the angles are good that it gets by that yellow. And that's a great plan B. Red now sitting 2. Freshman putting some pressure on the old legends here. I like this. Avery discussing things with Milo. Here's Avery's shot. Milo calling the line. They're sweeping hard, over curling, and they roll that one in. Nope, nope, nope. Didn't quite get there. And now this is Peter's first. Talking about how he could sit 3. I think it's the same shot. He's done this before. Needs to be wider. Although those reds on top are set up pretty much as they were before, so that's still a plan B option. The other thing you try to do is guard the yellow promote at the top, which I think is going to be Avery's best chance to score. But sometimes the best defense is a good offense. I think that's the phrase. So if he could just put a third rock in here, that's really going to put the pressure on yellow. Hans and Hugo ready to sweep. Peter getting his slider on. That always takes a while. Now I think he's getting down in the hack and ready to throw his first rock in the end of the third. Good solid slide. Balance looks great. Did not look like he pushed out too heavy. I think this weight should be okay. Probably need to sweep for weight. They're calling for a sweep right now. Yeah, it's a little light and over curling. It's going to be the same result as last time, except not enough weight to actually move anything. All right, so no harm done. Yellow's in trouble. Yellow's got to figure out how they're going to score. And as predicted, Milo's suggesting that Avery bump that yellow up and see if they could sit shot. Rock is away. Sweeper's not touching it. I think they got to go. I think they got to go. It's going to curl too much. It's a hard thing to judge. It is going to curl. Plan B is to sneak it in that port. Oh, but it's too light. Shoot. Did not work out. Okay. Last rock advantage here. Red has hammer, and here comes hammer. And it's that same draw around the right side to sit 3. Now let's see if they've learned. Both the last 2 rocks have been a little too narrow and have crashed on those top guards. So they really need to give more Broom.
Putting it slower and completely hogging it is fine. Okay, it doesn't matter. Very low pressure here. It's fine.
I'm sorry, we're dealing with some issues here, and I frankly missed whether Red made that shot or not. I'm a multitasking play-by-play announcer, so looks like they did not. They have hung third end under the 2, so they scored 2. So nice little comeback, tight game here. 3-2 going into the 4th. We are halfway done. Let's go see what's happening on sheet 1. Wrapping up the third end. So yellow is sitting 3. Set up for a big steal. Red, I think, is trying to get in there, but it is light. And crashes on that top yellow. Does not make it in there. Was that hammer? I'm sitting kind of far away from the actual ice house, so it's a little hard for me to tell. But no, Rudy's still talking about the next shot, so. So I think Rudy is most likely going to try to put up a guard. Again, he's sitting in a great spot right now. He's up 3. Or, sorry, not up 3, but sitting 3 right now. Clearly, Red's best chance to score is to draw that port on the right side between the red and the yellow, right down to the yellow shot rock. So he's going to do his best to plug that up with a guard. Nice slide, Rudy. All week, Rudy's had really good balance. Struggled sometimes with his weight, but this looks pretty good. Having said that, it's a little light. Gotta get it over, gotta get it over. Hard, guys, hard, 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 hard. Yeah, it was tough. Rudy did not want to be really deep. Just wanted to put up a guard just a little bit past the hog line, and as a result, just leaves it a little bit short. All right, pressure shot by Chase here. So this is Chase's second. This is the last rock of the end. I told the students earlier this week that all 8 rocks, all 8 shots are equally important. The lead's very first shot is an incredibly important rock. It sets up the entire end. However, the skip stones are often filled with pressure. And this is a big pressure shot. I thought he was trying to come through that port, but they've set it up. I would have come the other way. Maybe that is what he's trying to do. Or maybe he's going for the promote. Promote's there. Is it enough? Is it enough? Sweep that rock. Sweep that, sweep that, sweep that, sweep that, sweep that in. Oh my gosh. Sit there. Oh, what a great shot. Yellow's going to steal 1, but just 1. And that saves things for Red. Great shot, Chase. We'll come back to sheet 1 here in a second, but 4th end is underway on sheet 3. Yellow has hammer again, with Red having scored. And it looks like we have 2 corner guards. Guards because they're up above the house and not in the target area. Corners, because they're not on the center line, they're kind of off to the sides. Avery tried to draw behind that, but that slide was offline, and that is out way wide and also very, very heavy. Red only down 1, looking for a steal here to tie things up. And let's see if we're ready for play here. Back on sheet 1. Stone Cold versus the Broom Doom. Yellow scored again, so they will go first. And the skips are doing some house cleaning, apparently. Williams in the hack, getting ready to throw his lead stone. As I mentioned, the lead stones are really important. 2 good lead stones can really set up the entire end, making it much easier to score. It's one of my favorite positions to play. And traditionally, the first stone you want is a center guard outside the house on the center line. Wouldn't be terrible here to be in the house, given the scoreboard yellow's up a lot. Usually if you go into the house early, it leads to a lower scoring end. This will not be in the house, and William pitched that out a little bit wide. Coming back toward the center line, though, and it'll end up as a corner guard just a little bit to the right of the center. Good result. All right, Chase needs some points. And he wants to simply draw the button. It's kind of dangerous. He does that, he's going to be wide open if Rudy is bold enough to call for a hit. Eshaw pitches that one out a bit wide and might be hitting the boards. Nope. Nope, it's coming back. And he's got a very high guard. I actually like that result better than if she had drawn the button. I think that would just be open for a hit. And given the 5 rock free guard zone, Rudy can't hit that red. And Chase can maybe use that later to hide behind. Let's see what Rudy wants to do. He should just throw one in. That's what he's going to do. I would want to put it under that yellow rock to kind of protect it. And given where his broom is, I think he's just wants it to go to center. It's never going to curl all the way under that yellow on the right side. This looks good by William. It's coming exactly where I want it, maybe a little hot. It's going to stick around in the back of the house. Chase is going to sweep to escort it out, make sure it doesn't stay. Chase trying to draw again. My YouTube viewer here tells me that we have a whopping 15 of you watching the live stream. Thanks for joining us. As I mentioned before, if you've got questions or comments on what's going on, please put comments in the chat. I'll try to answer any questions you've got. I see a couple of wows and good curlings. We've seen some really good shots. Just had another one on sheet 3. I hear some cheering. But we're going to see if Red can score here and stay on sheet 1. Apparently Millen made a nice takeout on sheet 3. So yay for Millen. Sorry we weren't watching that. Rudy wisely taking advantage of those 2 reds in the top. He would like to put one in the house and hide behind those. And he's asking Lolo, I'm sorry, not Lolo. He's asking Eloise to do this. Over curling and light. And on sheet 3, apparently Grady has responded with a nice takeout. So I was saying earlier that takeouts are very difficult, and we've had 2 back-to-back takeouts on sheet 3. So good for them. The only way you can make a takeout is if you've worked really hard on your slide, on your balance, on your aim. That can go wrong. A takeout can go wrong immediately. So it's a testament to how hard at least Millen and Grady have been working on that to be able to make those shots. Now Chase wants to draw into the right side. That's not going to make it. It's going to be a little late. The good news for red, at least, is yellow doesn't have anything in. So for the moment, hopefully they don't look to be giving up any more points, but they need to get some counters. Let's see who's going to be the first to get into the house. Rudy was looking at the draw. I guess that's still what he's doing. Let's see what Eloise can do with her second. Hanging a little bit wide. I think she's going to be on that top red. Is that going to hit it? Chase is going to promote it. Yes. Good eye by Chase. And that puts red in to sit shot rock. Chase trying to put a second one in. I like this call a lot. Chase has been studying a lot and has a good sense of strategy for the game, so I was delighted that he's able to skip a team. Lolo trying to draw behind. Pitch is a little bit narrow, and I think we're going to be on these top yellows. No damage done. I think it's going to be light enough that she's not going to be bumping those up. All right, Rudy still has a wide open house there and could easily draw in and outcount that red shot rock. But he's looking at something else. I think that sometimes these students just overthink things. It's never that bad a call strategically just to put one in the house and outcount your opponent. I'm not sure what he's talking about here. Whether he wants to open up those guards. Or put one in the top house. I mean, the fact is, up 5, yellow would be perfectly happy just giving up 1 point, forcing the team with hammer to a single point. So often it's a win to force the other team. Then he would go into the 5th, up 4 with the hammer. That's a fine position to be in. But I'm greedy, and I would still be playing for the steal here. I think there's the chance to do that. So I'm still not quite sure what the call was. We're going to be on this yellow. Yep. And that splits the yellows. The one to the right goes out of play. One to the left stays in the top 12. So he's got a counter, sitting second shot. Red's got a chance now to sit 2. And I think Chase is making the right call here, which is to draw under the yellow that's above the A. Let's see if Nico can draw under there. This is a little too light, though. And it's over curling. Not going to get around the yellow, going to sit on top of it. I don't think it's going to do any damage of bumping it up. Maybe an inch. But not enough to promote yellow to shot rock. All right, let's see what Rudy has in mind. Rudy definitely playing for the force here. Seems like he is very happy to give red 1 and simply work hard to prevent red from getting any more than that. This is Zachary's second, I believe. How's this looking? A little hotter than a guard. This may be, in fact, the shot that I want, which is to come down to that red. Bump that out, bump that out. Oh! Just by. Bumps red back, rolls off to the side. I am not sure who's closest in the back, and did they move red enough to make the top yellow count? I don't know. Chase calling for the takeout, which I think means that he must be thinking that yellow is shot in the back. Let's see if Nico can make the takeout. Nope, that's going to be narrow. Not going to get by that top red. Didn't quite have the weight. Ricochets off the yellow. And the shooter does not make it into the house. So Zachary comes down now as the vice to consult with Rudy on strategy for Rudy's last 2 shots. I don't know what they've decided. We'll have a better sense once Zachary comes back and holds the broom. Everyone's still looking at these 2 rocks. We may have to send Ms. Dowling out in a bit to see if she can make the call. Otherwise, we'll get out the measuring tool if we need to. Ooh. We are promoting this. I did not expect that. Again, the students are sometimes maybe a little more clever than they need to be. I think that's just a complicated, clever, funny shot. They should just draw through that port and put one into the 4-foot or the 8-foot. Based on the broom and the handle indication, I think they are trying to promote that yellow in the way top right. It's not going to get to the outside to promote it. He's going to do some damage here and promote that red. Ooh. That's not what he wanted. Bumps red right up to the button. Okay, kind of opened the door to red to score a couple here. Let me see if I can get a report on those back two reds, or the back two rocks. Normally, you do not bring in an official at this in the middle of the end to determine, but I'm really curious and kind of depend. The strategy maybe changes a little bit, so I think Miss Dowling's trying to help them out and let them know which of those back two rocks is closest. Let's see if we get the report. Miss Dowling reports that it's really close. It might be red, but it's really close. So you can't do a measure in the middle of the end, so the students have to do their best to try to figure out right now, to the extent it affects their strategy, which rock is closest. But if they stay in place, and we may end up having to actually do a measure. All right, here's Chase's first. I think in either case, his shot here is to draw the button. Put one right next to the rock that's already on the button. It's really light though, and he's going to hog it. I think hogging it here is probably better than having it get over, because if it had gotten over, it would have been a guard and made it more difficult for him to get in to the house with hammer. So not a terrible result for now. Now yellow really should just put up a center guard up there. Or unless they think that red is sitting 2 in the back, in which case they could look to try to get a counter in there to cut red down to 1. But frankly, even giving up 2 right now is not too bad. You really don't want to give up 3, and the best way to prevent that is to put a guard up and try to prevent Chase from doing what he was just trying to do. For the last few days, the students have been doing some practice games at the end of the drill session, playing several ends, rotating students through all the different positions. And they've always had a lot of coaching in the house when they are skipping from the curling club members who have volunteered to instruct. So they get lots of coaching and advice and guidance. But not today. The skips are out there on their own with their vices and their teammates to decide the strategy, and it's up to them to call the shots. So it could be that yellow is just trying to either guard or draw in. This looks really good. This looks really good. Drag it, drag it, drag it all the way. Up, up, up. Wow. Holy cats. Fantastic team shot. And that's a team shot because Rudy threw it. But man, Zachary called the sweep, and Eloise and William swept really well and dragged the rock right there. Oh, that's heartbreak for red. It was looking good to get 3 with hammer, and now, oof, I think yellow is sitting shot. Might still be red, I can't tell, but wow, yellow is shot, and it is hard to get it out of there. Even if Chase throws a lot of weight at this as a takeout, if he hits the outside, the right side of that yellow rock, it jams on the red, pokes the red out, and goes nowhere. He's got to get inside nose, across nose, and he is just really wide. Doesn't get there, and I'm pretty sure that is a steal of 1. All right, yellow takes a commanding lead, up 6-0 with 2 to play. They are working themselves close to a spot in the finals. There'll be one more game starting around 11:45. The losers of these 2 games will take on each other for the 3-4 matchup, where the winners of these games will play for the coveted Roman chalice. The winners will earn the right to have their names engraved in gold, or, well, actually written in black Sharpie marker on the Roman chalice, a glorious 3-story trophy that has the names of all the previous winners of the Latin School of Chicago Roman Bonspiel written on it in Sharpie. What's happening on sheet 3? Red roared back with a steal of 3 in the 4th end to take a 5-3 lead over the Old People Seniors. So exciting, close game here on sheet 3 between the oldsters and the youngsters. This end is well underway. Looks like we might already be throwing... No, these are lead stones. This is Timothy's second. Looks like the first one is in the house on the top right. And his second one, he chucks it through. We are up to a whopping 18 viewers on this feed. Thank you all for joining us. We have some special guests. We have Nurse Abby checking in. And Ms. Wild's sister, Keziah, all the way from Denver watching. Thanks for joining us. This also is heavy. The nerves of competition are causing the adrenaline to rise, and a couple of them are chucking it heavy. Avery has hammer, trying to put one on the left side. It's always a good strategy when you have hammer and put rocks in the house on different sides of the house, called splitting the house. No, that wasn't Timothy. I'm sorry. That was Milo, I think. Very nice. Yellow is sitting 2. And they have hammer. So they are in a good position. Looks like Peter's talking about drawing down to that. Trying to decide which way to come. Yep, I think that's the better way. So that was Grady holding the broom for Peter. Playing a quick game here. They're well ahead of the pace on sheet 1. They are now in skip stones here in the 5th. As a reminder, the next game will start around 11:45, and you don't want to be late for that one. There is a special treat for you and for all the students. The finals of any quality curling bonspiel begins after several days of competition. You get to the finals, and all the teams that have made it to the finals of the different events are led out onto the ice in a procession led by a bagpiper. And the Roman bonspiel is no different. So the whole thing will begin with a piping ceremony, and we will have that live streamed for you. All right, I believe this is Peter's first. I think he's trying to draw down to that back red. If he could sit right on top of it, that would be great. He would be shot, and it would make it impossible for yellow to hit it out. Coming up a little light and over curling. At least he gets one in the house, and he outcounts that top yellow. So currently he's cut yellow down to 1. And now Avery trying to draw in with third rock. That looks really heavy to me. I'm not sure there's a good plan B. She risks hitting her own rock. No, it's curling over more than that. Grady getting ready to sweep it behind the tee. Get it out, get it out, get it out, get it out. Doesn't get it out, but at least sweeps it back far enough behind the red. So good sweeping by Grady.
It's not. We're really screwed right now. We're really screwed.
So yellow sitting 1, and it would not be terrible to force yellow to 1 here. Yellow would love to steal. I'm sorry, red would love to steal, but if he did force yellow to 1, then red would go into the last end, up 1 with the hammer, which is a fine situation.
It's a very important shot. The fine is necessary.
So I think he really needs to. Ideally, I think he would freeze to that 1 his Broom is right in front of. I think he's trying to draw over to the right side, which is a good call. He just needs to ideally sit shot rock here, outcount that yellow behind his feet. Having a lot of discussion. All right, they seem to have decided. Grady's holding the Broom. Peter slides out. I think the line is pretty good. Maybe looks a little light. Sweepers are on it. Come on, gang. Grady comes out to help sweep with Rajan and Hugo. Yeah, they don't get it in. Now, yellow has got a fairly easy draw for 2. They just need to touch the 8-foot, that big white circle. if they could ever hit that red and stay with, have the shooter stay, they'd have 4. So do you draw for 2? That would tie the game. Or do you have the riskier shot of hitting for 4 and taking a 2-point lead into the last? Danger is takeouts are not easy. So Avery needs to be really honest with herself here and think about what shot she and her team can actually make here. If you don't feel confident that you can make this takeout, then the risk is not worth taking. And I honestly don't know what they've chosen. With that Broom, it could be a takeout or it could be drawing the inside. Timothy Millen dancing while we decide. Yeah, looks like they've gone for the draw. I think that's wise. Been curling for 4 or 5 days. Takeouts are tough. There goes for the draw here. Needs to make this. Oh, no. I'm told she's going for the take. Oh, curl, 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 curl. Did you get a piece? Oh, just by. Just by. Oh, so close. All right, a little excessive cheering there. And it's a steal of 1 as she takes out her shot rock. So it is red goes up 6-3. Commanding lead going into the last end. But the Legends will have hammer. So they've got some work to do. So we head into the last end on sheet 3. Meanwhile, in sheet 1, I think they're still playing the 5th. Stone Cold is in trouble. They need some points, and Broom Doom right now is sitting 1. And that rock is kind of hard to get to. What Stone Cold has going for them is they're sitting second, third shot. So if they were ever bold enough to try a takeout on that yellow, they could stuff it, hit it on the nose, poke it straight back, and they'd be sitting 3, which would at least cut this deficit in half. But it's yellow's turn to throw. And he could either try the guard, or I like just putting a second one in there. And I think that's what he's trying to do. Let's see what Zachary has for us. Line was good. It's just going to be a little light and going to stay way up there. So Chase's choices are promote that red, or take out the back yellow, or simply draw around the right side. If you've been curling for quite a while, the clear option here is to take out that yellow. But if you've been curling for 5 days, that might be an overly risky call. On the other hand, you're down 6, so you may be saving that for later. Maybe he's going to give himself that shot. Meanwhile, asking Nico to put in another one here. Now, what you can't have is this rock guarding that takeout that you're going to need later on. And I'm afraid that's exactly what's going to happen. Yeah, it's light, it over curls. And now, unfortunately, that takeout is gone. That's unfortunate. So if I'm yellow at this point, I am simply trying to draw the button through that big gap on the right side, or really just get into the forefoot, sit 2. I guess that's another option too. You're kind of looking that red could bump that red back to shot rock. You could even run that red angle, raise it, hit it just to the right of the nose, run it straight back into yellow shot rock and poke it out. Not at all an easy shot, but it's there. And so by putting a rock up on top of that, you're guarding, taking that shot away. I think they should be standing on the other side and throwing the other handle and coming the other way, right to left and opposed to left to right. But if this works, this is fine too. Eloise and William getting ready to sweep this rock. All right, here's Rudy's delivery. And that's really light. Never going to get to the hog line. That's going to get pulled off. Let's see what Red has in mind here. They are in a world of trouble. Are they going to go for that promote? The other thing they could try to do is peel off that red guard that's taking away the takeout opportunity, hoping that Rudy doesn't put it back and then have that takeout for Chase's last. But they're going to go for the promote. I like this. If they hit it on the nose, then it could put it right back onto the button. And if they're a little on the high side, that is, just hit that top rock a little to the right of the center, a little to the right of nose. It'll angle it right back into the yellow, get rid of it. And they would again sit 3, maybe 4. Yeah, 3. What are they trying to do here? Oh, are they going to get through that port? Get through there! Get through there! Holy smokes! Wow! I'm not 100% sure that was the called shot, but they saw that and they made it through there. I did not even see that that was a possibility. What a fantastic shot. Yeah, we've just gotten confirmation from Chase that the called shot was the little angle promote, angle raise into the yellow, but it overcurled, and this was a great plan B. So, wow, what a turn of events. Red is sitting 3 with hammer. A serious threat to get 4 here with hammer and to go into the last only down 2. There's no way they could get 5. Even though there are rocks in play up top, there's no way you could promote one of those into the house and get the shooter to go into the house. So, yellow has got their last. They need to think about what they're going to do here to cut them down. I like simply just drawing under cover, try to draw the button, and outcount them that way. If you leave it exposed, it does give Chase a chance to hit that for 4. I think red is trying to minimize the damage here and at least get rid of one of the red counters. And they are trying to take out that top red. However, this is never going to get there. It's light. They need to just leave it high. There's no point in dragging it in. I don't think. Are they going to get it to the house? Oh, I am so wrong. I am so wrong. That was a very good result. I apologize. I thought that rock was much lighter than it was. They sneak it in there. And right now they have cut red down to 1, and importantly, there is 0 way to get rid of that yellow rock. So I think the only thing red can do is get 2. And the obvious way to do that is to draw the right side. I think they're talking about some promote here. I'm not sure. Nico eventually will stop wandering around and hold the broom, and we'll have a sense of what the shot is. Yeah, they are talking about some sort of promote here. I don't know if that's because they think they can somehow get rid of that yellow. Yeah, I think the easier shot is to just draw the right side. In any event, they've chosen to do the promote. Chase is yelling at his sweepers to sweep. And Lolo and Ishal get after it. That is over curling, ticking off of there. Red's on the board. That's the good news. They have scored. However, they are down 5 going into the last, and they will not have hammer. So, big hill for them to climb. Meanwhile, over here on sheet 3, the Legends are losing to Books of Old 6-3. They do have the hammer. And it looks like they are sitting 1. All right, Peter now is back in the house. I think he's called just draw the top four, draw the button. I think that's a great call. And that's pretty spicy, and there's no backing, nothing for it to come down to. Grady pushes that through. All right, let's see what Avery's got in mind here. I think that's exactly the right call. Top 8 foot under cover. Gonna bury it under those 2 top yellow guards. That's why you have the guards there. Let's use them. I think I'm doing a lousy job of giving equal coverage to all the students' throws. I feel like we've seen all of Milo's and only one of Lolo's. I'm not sure we've seen Millen deliver, so I apologize for that. I'm hopping back and forth, but hopefully between this game and the next game, we'll get all the kids adequate coverage. Good shot. It doesn't curl enough to get under cover, which means it's open to get hit. Question is whether Peter thinks that they can make that shot. Of course, it's a group of freshman boys. They can make it. They can hit that. No problem. The good news is Grady just threw a shot that was basically takeout weight along that line. So he does the same thing here. Should have a good result. Line looks a little tight. Yep, it's inside. It's narrow. Is it going to wreck on those top guards? Yes, it is. But can they get the double this way? Wow. That it's not at all the planned shot, but randomness happens in curling and moves stuff around, but doesn't actually get rid of anything. And yellow is still sitting. Yellow is now sitting 3. So it's exactly what they need to tie up the game. But Avery's going to draw in and get 4. I'm sure some of you are wondering what happens if this ends in a tie. In that case, if we get to the 6th end in a tie, there will be a pressure-filled warm draw. Each skip throws 1 rock with 2 sweepers, and the rock closest to the button wins the game. This is coming down nicely. It's going to be a little behind T. Sweeper should get off of it. They do. Gets behind T. Peter sweeps it back a little bit. But great shot. Yellow sits 4. All right, we now go to skip stones. Yellow is sitting 4 with hammer. Now here's the thing. Red can afford to give up 2 and win the game. They give up 3, it's a tie. They can't afford to give up 4, they'd lose. If they could get rid of a couple of rocks, that'd be fantastic. Now, they could call the takeout here. Those 2 in the 4 foot are more or less open. In theory, the double is there. You could hit those rocks in just a way that your shooter would hit the rock on the left, kick it back, and then roll into the yellow in the back of the 4 foot and kick it out. That's a pretty tough shot, though. Really just go for 1, or an even better shot would not be a takeout. It would be to draw down and sit right on top of the yellow rock that was just thrown. That way, if you sit there, there's no way that yellow could hit that red out. And that means that really yellow could only score 1 or 2. Given the broom, I think they're calling a takeout. When the rock goes faster, it curls less. So if you're calling a takeout, you want more weight, you want the rock going faster, so it's not going to curl as much. You bring the aiming point in a lot closer. It is on line. Grady calling for the sweep. It looks light. Grady's coming out to help get it there. They can't go through this port. That would be bad. Coming down. Corner freeze that. Corner freeze that. Go, 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 go. Great result. I don't know if he was trying to do that. I hope he was, because that would have been a really good call. But in any event, as I said, a lot of curling is quickly thinking about whether we are going to have any chance of making the shot we called, and if not, what's plan B? And this is a great plan B. This is almost what I was talking about with the back rock. They've now almost frozen to the top left yellow and might be sitting shot rock, and it is really hard for yellow to get that out. If they hit it, it jams on the back yellow, and the red stays, pops the yellow out the back. In theory, what Avery might do is do that anyway. She loses that yellow on the left of the forefoot, but now she is frozen to that red rock. And with her second shot, she could hit that again, poke the red out, and sit 4. So curling, kind of like chess, requires thinking a couple moves ahead. I don't know if that's what they're calling or not. Curling is often called chess on ice because of the strategy, and I guess I get that, but when I play chess and I want my knight to go from one point to the other, it always goes from one point to the other. In curling, when I want my rock to end up in a certain spot, sometimes it does. Grady apparently having a little chat with Milo about what their strategy is. Grady needs to not be in there. Avery has delivered. This is light. Way over curling. If they get it over, it's just going to be on top of those guards. So that's not going to help yellow very much. Not looking good for the Legends. Looks like we may have Books of Old moving on to the finals. I understood Legends. I understood Stone Cold. That's sort of a funny curling pun. The Broom Doom. Yep. They're brooms and they're bringing the doom. I get that one. Did not understand Books of Old. I was told it's a meme, which explains why I would not know it. I really don't know what shot yellow has, and if I'm Peter and Grady at this point, I'm trying to think about what's yellow going to do. How could I make that difficult for them? I don't know what yellow has at this point. So I think they're just trying to draw another one in there, which makes an awful lot of sense. Beautiful slide, Peter. But light. Makes it over the hog line, though, and now that acts as a guard, making yellow's life even more difficult. So I don't know. They could maybe try to chip that red really thin and poke it straight to the left. Not an easy shot for anyone, let alone someone who's been curling for 5 days. But the Legends played a really good game here. The Books of Old just outplayed them a bit. After this rock, we'll hop back over and see what's happening on sheet 1, and then things will be wrapping up. We will be taking a break after that and have lunch. Sorry, doing some logistical arranging here. Making arrangements to go get the pizza, which we'll be having for lunch today. We'll also be having a raffle, raffling off some curling-related Chicago Curling Club items. All right, here's last rock. It's going to hit this red, runs it back into that red, which goes over there, and oh my goodness. That was crazy I never saw that. They got 2. They needed 3. So it's maybe a moral victory. Wow. Nice little comeback there. Books of old and their handshakes all around as that game ends. Let's go see what's happening on sheet 1. Red down by a bunch. They need a steal of 5 here, and the house is not set up to make that happen. So it looks like it's going to be Books of Old against Broom Doom in the finals, and Stone Cold and the Legends will play in the consolation game. Hey, after we have our pizza and our raffle, and I go out and do some ice prep, we will start the second game, probably around 11:45. As I said, that starts with a bagpiping ceremony. Well, students all get piped onto the ice in a bagpipe procession, and we will try to have coverage of that. So I'll get the stream going again well before that happens. So leave your YouTube feed on and don't miss the bagpiping ceremony. Nice game, all. Well done. All right, the first 2 teams are coming off the ice. With greetings of good curling all around. Rudy calling for the promote. Yellow is sitting 1 with that rock in the far right 12-foot. He's calling for the promote. The kids really are liking the promote today. Not sure why. I think it's a far easier shot simply to draw into the wide open house. If you hit the yellow kind of off nose to the right, you could actually run it back into the red and not do much. In any event, this is going to be light. Might be enough to move the red in. Nope, not quite enough juice there to do that. Well, there's not going to be any way that Stone Cold's getting 5 in this end, but let's see if they can steal a couple of points. I think the clearest way to do that is to draw from the right side under all those 3 rocks on the left, tuck one under there, and make it difficult for yellow to get to it. All right, Nico puts the broom down, holding it awfully wide. If Chase hits the line, this is okay. If he's a little wide, though, he might be hitting those yellows on the right side. And I'm afraid that's what's happening. He is wide, actually wide enough that it's out of play. It ticks yellow in. That rock was already counting, so doesn't really do any damage, but his red does not stick around as a counter. So yellow should just draw one in here. Or put up a guard, is what red needs to try to do to at least score 1 point here, is to draw one in. But yellow has hammer, so even if they do that, yellow will still have a chance to outdraw them. All right, it's taking them a while to get organized here. All right, Chase sliding down to get ready to throw his last. Zachary holding the broom for Rudy. Rudy slides out. Not calling for a sweep yet. Now they do. Maybe should have done that earlier. I'm not sure they've got enough to get it to the house. They don't, in which case they should just leave it up top. All right, I think there was some tomfoolery going on there. I'm not sure what happened there. Well, this is Red's last. And then yellow will have hammer. Not Chase's best slide. I don't know where his sweepers are. Things are starting to go sideways out on the sheet. Might be time for a break. Yeah, that's not going to make it in. And yeah. I think everyone's having fun now. All right, that's the game. We will have Stone Cold playing the Legends for third, fourth place. And in the finals, we will have the Broom Doom against Books of Old. I think we're going to stop this. I think the games have basically stopped. Even though there's one last shot, they're just sort of messing around at this point. Thanks for joining us. Do come back. We will try to get on the ice around 11:45.